Today we're at the Saskatoon Airport, hangar number 5, which is our museum. My name is Stephen Molinelli and I'm the assistant manager here at the Saskatchewan Aviation Museum. Aviation Saskatchewan originally was very important for us for exploration and helping of the North. And I think it's a story that's not told a lot, and there's a lot of stories that need to be heard so that people understand that part of our history. Saskatchewan has a rich aviation history, and we're just doing our part to tell the story. We've got various things that tell the story of Saskatchewan. One of our main focuses is talking about the British Commonwealth Plan, which was training pilots. As you can see, some of our yellow aircraft in the hangar there were used to train for World War II. We've also got things like our tracker, which was used for fighting fires up in La Ronge, and even some old bush planes. We pulled one out of a lake. Go to our website and check out JDO and see the story about that. So it's all about telling the story of aviation specifically in Saskatchewan. We hope to spread the message and get more people through the doors and come down and be part of it, and looking for volunteers specifically to come and help us from anything from aircraft restorations to helping just clean up the hangar. There's lots to learn and lots to do.
My name is Doran Wallace and I'm the president of the Saskatchewan Aviation Museum. My history actually started 60 years ago in aviation. I spent 40 years flying airplanes commercially. For a long time we didn't think we had history because we're such a new province and aviation is so new. We hope to be able to tell those stories one at a time. We're going to offer a lot of things in the future. At this point in time, the most important thing we have to offer is flights to the public in the Tiger Moth. People are really appreciative of rides in that airplane. It's an open cockpit, bi-wing airplane that actually was used during World War II as a trainer. For a rundown on the airplanes that we have, outside we have a T-33 that was used by the military as a basic jet trainer during the 50s and 60s. And beside that, the DC-3. DC-3s were part of our aviation history in Saskatchewan for approximately 60 years. And this is the last surviving DC-3 that actually flew in Saskatchewan. And this one was based at Points North and flew there for the last 5 years of its life. The tracker is, of course, one of our most important pieces here. These were originally built as aircraft carrier airplanes, and when their job was done, they were all parked and they were repurposed as water bombers. We're no longer able to fly it, but it is serviceable, so we still are able to run the engines, and we do that periodically anytime we have a function here. Again, it's an example of one of the older airplanes that's got round engines that makes all kinds of noise and chases mosquitoes away, and people love to hear it.
The aircraft we have here is a nose section of the S2F2 tracker. It's the same as the one we have outside. So this is 517, and the one we have outside is 598. This particular aircraft here landed on the HMCS Bonaventure aircraft carrier and did a hard landing, and the fuselage was stretched. In time, instead of scrapping the aircraft, they actually cut the nose section off, as you see here, and turned it into a systems trainer. Back then there was no flight simulators, so it came down to rewiring the aircraft so that it would work on board, and then they would train the air crew as well as ground crew on the aircraft systems so they knew how to work on them. So they knew every system on board, including the torpedo bays underneath, all the electrical systems inside, avionics, and then the aircraft hull technicians would go around and do different parts of the aircraft, replacing skin, metal parts, anything that might have been damaged during flying training.
My name is Ryan Loudon, and I guess you could just call me the general IT support for this place. Behind me is a 1970 King Air 100 cockpit simulator. It's usually one of the first airplanes that you fly when you start working in the airlines, so it was a perfect fit. Before we start the plane, we got to make sure everything's off. So right now I'm just going through a little checklist that I've made, and so we're going to make sure that all the parking brakes are set, everything's off, fuel's off. Don't want it when it starts up, we don't want it taken off on us. So just going through the checklist now. So now we're just checking to make sure our rudder trim in our elevator trim in the back is working. We should hear some beeps. Check our backup. All right, so now we're ready to start our engine. So we'll turn our lights on so everybody knows we're about to move. See our turbine starting to spin up. And then once it's moving fast enough, we'll introduce the fuel and it'll start up. This literally is a 1970 King Air 100. Unfortunately, up north, it suffered a gear-up crash and they turned it into a cockpit simulator. Testing to make sure all the lights work, and the secret is they don't all work because I haven't finished programming them yet. But generally, first thing in the morning for starting this thing up, we'd go through and make sure all the engines are working, and generally you move away from all the other airplanes because we're going to run up the engines and make sure everything's working properly. First thing we're going to check is the prop governors to make sure they don't over-rev. Then we're going to check the propeller feather, which if one of these engines fails, it'll shut off the pitch of the propeller so it doesn't pull us off to the side and into the ground. We should get the lights going on and off here as I engage the test. That's good, we are. Oh, this thing will fly for about 5 hours, and you can be well over the west coast, over the ocean, before you run out of fuel from here.
This is what the museum's all about, is for people to come through, look and see and touch and feel and appreciate. It's pretty important. People enjoy them all.
You can find us on both social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook at Sask Aviation, or www.saskaviation.ca is our website.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on Max TV Local, email us at max.local@sasktel.com.